Hello friends, welcome to Dungeons & Dragonfly, where I adapt various characters for use in D&D. I'm Dragonfly9078, and today's another Patreon request. This is Lenia from Ghostblade. After the build, be sure to check out my channel to vote for the next one, and hey, maybe check out my Patreon too, if you want. So what do we want from this build? Well, as an assassin, we need to be able to infiltrate, charming and deceiving our way into our target's bedchambers. We also need to be a little bit underhanded, using poison and our signature hidden crossbow to complete our missions. But if we do get caught, we need to be good enough with a sword to fight our way out. Looking over at ability scores, I'll be doing a point buy. If you want to roll for stats, that's fine. We actually don't have any multi-classing minimums this time. Starting off with 13s in strength and dexterity. Lenia is stronger than she looks and uses a longsword and a hand crossbow with equal proficiency. Constitution's 11. We've almost died from illness in the past, though we do work with poison, so I don't want it to be too low. Intelligence is only 10. Lenia isn't dumb, but she doesn't show any special brilliance either. She does decide to side with Ghostblade rather than go against him though, so wisdom can be a bit higher at 11. Then we'll finish up with a 15 in charisma. Lenia's entire style of assassination involves using her beauty to sneak her way into her target's bed and killing them there when their guard is down. Lenia seems to be human, so we'll go variant human to get a free feat. We'll round off strength and dexterity to 14 each, take medicine for our skill, and the resilient feat, which will even off our constitution to 12 and gives us proficiency with con saves, so we can outdrink anyone in the northern desert. We really don't know much about Lenia before she became an assassin, or her history with Ghostblade, but since she is an assassin, we'll take the criminal background, her proficiency with deception and stealth, along with thieves' tools. So there's really not a whole lot to go off of for Lenia, much less than for Ghostblade, but making her a rogue seems like a pretty solid bet, so we'll do that. We get 4 skills from the rogue list. I'll say athletics, persuasion, perception, and sleight of hand, then bump athletics and deception up to expertises. We learn Thieves' Cant to network with other criminals, and can make a sneak attack once per turn, adding an extra d6 of damage when we hit with a finesse or ranged weapon, if we had advantage on the attack or an ally within 5 feet of the attack target. Cunning Action at 2nd level lets us dash, disengage, or hide with our bonus action, so we don't have to choose between doing one of those and attacking. Then at 3rd level, our sneak attack damage goes up to 2d6. It'll keep increasing every odd-numbered level of rogue that we take. I did consider taking Assassin here, since Lenia is, in fact, an assassin, but that subclass is a little bit lacking in combat without the element of surprise, and her idea of infiltration involves not wearing a disguise and telling her target her real name, so we'll be going with Swashbuckler instead. Our fancy footwork means we don't provoke opportunity attacks from creatures in the same turn that we attack them in melee, and our Rakish Audacity lets us add our Charisma to our initiative. It also lets us use our sneak attack without advantage if our target is the only creature within 5 feet of us and we don't have disadvantage. It does still need a finesse or ranged weapon, which our longsword does not qualify as, so we'll take the crossbow expert feat at 4th level. We ignore the loading property of crossbows, we don't have disadvantage on ranged attacks just for being within 5 feet of an enemy, and after we take the attack action with a one-handed weapon, we can use our bonus action to attack with the hand crossbow that's strapped to our wrist. So we may not be able to sneak attack in melee with our longsword, but we can sneak attack in melee with our crossbow, and that damage goes up again to 3d6 at level 5. We also get Uncanny Dodge, which uses our reaction to halve the damage from an attack that hits us as long as we can see the attacker. 6th level rogues get 2 more expertises. Persuasion and Sleight of Hand are my picks. Then 7th level rogues get another sneak attack die and evasion. Whenever we make a dexterity save, we take half damage on a fail and none on a success, rather than full damage on a fail and half on a success. Lenia is known to use poison, so we'll grab the Poisoner feat, giving us proficiency with the Poisoner's kit. We can apply poison to weapons and ammo as a bonus action rather than as an action. Our poison damage ignores poison resistance, and we can create our own poison with an hour's work and 50 gold. 9th level swashbucklers have Panache. As an action, we can make a persuasion check against a creature's insight. If we pass and they aren't already hostile to us, they're charmed for up to a minute, so we can talk our way into our target's rooms. If we pass and they are hostile, they focus entirely on attacking us. They have disadvantage on attacks against creatures that aren't us, and they can't make opportunity attacks against anyone except us. That lasts for up to a minute, but it ends early if one of our allies attacks them or if we're ever 60 feet away from them. 10th level rogues get an extra ability score improvement, and we'll use it to even out our wisdom and charisma to 12 and 16 respectively. Then at 11th level we get more sneak attack damage as well as reliable talent. Whenever we make an ability check that includes our proficiency, we can't roll lower than a 10. The upper level rogue features tend to be good, and this is one of the better ones. We're pretty much done with feats, so our last couple ASIs will just go to buffing our ability scores. Charisma is pretty important to Lenia, so we'll bump that up to 18. As a 13th level swashbuckler, we can keep up with the Desert Princess with Elegant Maneuver. As a bonus action, we can give ourselves advantage on our next athletics or acrobatics check that we make this turn. Then if she tries to play dirty with a smoke bomb, Blind Sense will let us know where she is as long as she's within 10 feet. 15th level rogues have Slippery Minds in addition to their increased sneak attack damage, giving us proficiency in wisdom saving throws. Then we'll use our next ASI to get better at dex saves by bumping that up to 16. 17th level swashbucklers are Master Duelists. Once per rest, if we miss with an attack, we can choose to roll it again with advantage. Then we become particularly elusive at 18th level, so no attacks against us can have advantage, as long as we're not incapacitated. We get one last increase to our sneak attack, capping it off at 10d6, as well as one last ASI. It can really go to whichever stat you prefer. Dexterity probably gives the highest benefit from a gameplay perspective, but I'm going to put it towards strength. Longswords aren't finesse, and Lenia is very skilled with hers, so I want strength to be even with dex. Our capstone is the 20th level of Rogue for Stroke of Luck. Once per rest, if we miss an attack on a target within our range, we can turn it into a hit. Or if we fail an ability check, we can treat our roll as a 20. Simple, but powerful. Doesn't do anything for saving throws, though. Now that the build is complete, let's take a look and see what we have done. So one of our biggest strengths is that we're completely focused. Taking 20 levels in a class is always pretty good because you get all of the abilities for that class, and they tend to work well together. High-level rogue abilities tend to be pretty good, but pretty straightforward, so we get reliable talent, elusive, and 10d6 sneak attack. We are a little bit more multi-ability score dependent than I would expect from a pure rogue, since we had to invest in charisma, dexterity, and strength. So I would say if you're building this at home and you don't particularly care about being super accurate to the character, drop strength. I use strength because Lenia uses a longsword, but if you use a short sword or a rapier, then you can just use dex, and then you can cap off dexterity, cap off charisma, and just leave strength by the wayside. We only really need it for athletics if we're not using a longsword, and we have expertise in that. It is also very nice that we aren't reliant on rest to use our abilities. The only things we have that recharge on any rest are Stroke of Luck and Master Duelist, and those both recharge on short rests, so the vast majority of the time we'll have access to everything we can do. We're not reliant on key points or sorcery points or any other resource like that. We can just always use everything we're capable of. Really, our biggest limiting factors are our ammunition for our crossbow, and the fact that we have a lot going on with our bonus action. Cunning Action, applying poison, our bonus action attack with our crossbow, there's just a lot of choices there. But to balance that out, a lot of it can be used with our action or our bonus action to give us a little bit more versatility. And I do like that we have a lot of ways to avoid damage. Obviously, Uncanny Dodge and Evasion are good, but we also have 4 saving throw proficiencies. And the 2 saving throws that we're not proficient in, Strength and Charisma, those are pretty high scores for us. We have a +3 in Strength and a +4 in Charisma. So our weakest saving throw, Strength, still has a +3. Of course, on the flip side of that, we do have kind of low Constitution, so we only have an average of about 114 HP. It's a little bit low, and our armor class is only 15 with studded leather, but we have enough ways to avoid damage that it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Thank you for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed the build. Head on over to my community tab if you want to vote for the next character for me to do. This week is between Siegfried from Fate, Elysis from Elsword, Schnitzel from Chowder, and our runner-up from last time, My Hero Academia's Himiko Toga. If you have any feedback or suggestions for characters you'd like to see me build, please leave them in the comments below, and they could show up in a future poll. Leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to support what I'm doing here, you can check the description for the link to my Patreon, for access to the Discord channel, early access to future builds, and exclusive Patreon content. Thanks again for watching. I will see y'all later.